Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tier 3 of the stay-at-home education plan. This is not going to actually look very different from us. When I looked at the Tier 3 stuff, I said, oh, this is basically what we're doing already. So for you guys, it's just going to be business as usual as it has been over the last few weeks. Nothing's changing as of right now. You're fine. Anyways, so now that we've done the delineation essay, we're going to be moving on to an analysis essay. There's a lot of similarities. Some of the parts are actually going to be kind of the same. We're just adding in some new stuff. So before you start an analysis essay, you should have already done that summary and evidence piece like you would do if you were doing a delineation essay. You can actually think of the delineation essay as basically step one of writing an analysis essay. Like before you can analyze what a person's going to say, you have to know what they're saying. So you should do all of that pre-work before you sit down to do the analysis essay. For this essay, the one you're going to be assigned, you can use either is survival selfish or lotto winners lose, whichever one you kind of think is more interesting, that's fine. I'm going to be using is survival selfish for our sample that you'll see in a So the structure of an analysis essay, you'll notice that this is possibly 5 paragraphs. This is the longest one we've written. It probably won't be. We'll get to this when we talk about the counter argument paragraph, but it's very likely that it won't be that long. So you've got your intro paragraph, a delineation paragraph, which, as I said, is actually going to be the exact same as if you were doing a delineation essay. And then you're going to have an analysis paragraph and So your intro paragraph. For your intro paragraph, you may not need a topic sentence and you may not need a focus sentence. This is very similar to the delineation essay. For this one, I'm actually not going to use either one of them. I just don't feel like we need it. Here's the information that you've got to get in there. What's the title of the text you're looking at? Who wrote it? What are they talking about? And then you've got to get in your thesis. What your thesis needs to cover is your thesis is what's their thesis? How do they make it? That part so far is actually very much like the delineation essay. And how well do they make it? That's the sort of analytical part. Like, is it a good argument? Is it a bad argument? Is it an okay argument? Right? Is it strong? Why is it strong? If it's weak, why is it weak? And if it's moderate, what's good and how can it be better? You're going to get into that in the body paragraph. You just want to be thinking about it. So here is the structure of your thesis. It actually can be kind of copy and paste. I'm not going to get mad if I see this, literally this exact structure on your essays. You can change it a little bit, but you want to get this information in here. Author uses rhetorical device to make a strong, moderate, or weak argument that whatever their thesis is. So for example, Wallace uses inference and anecdotes to make a moderate case that survival isn't selfish. Or Zagorski uses research studies to make a strong case that suddenly getting a lot of money isn't necessarily a good thing. So there's your thesis. Then you've got a delineation paragraph. It's the exact same as it would be in a delineation essay. For this one, you can actually just copy and paste your delineation, like the body paragraph from your delineation essay, because it's the same thing. Yeah. But why is this here? You need to establish what an author is saying before you can. And then you've got your analysis paragraph. It's pretty much the same. It's a tiers paragraph, guys. You've got a topic sentence where you're going to read a thesis. You're going to have your intro and evidence, which is the same as it always is. Reasoning. We're getting to a stage where you may have to have 2 reasoning sentences. That's fine. I would actually go so far as to say you are likely going to need 2 reasoning sentences. So what your reasoning sentence needs to cover is, again, this is kind of like the delineation, how the evidence you've provided proves the author's point. And here's the big part, why it's an effective argument. Like you need to explain, like, why does this work? Like, why does the thing they've said make sense and support your essay or their theory? Counter argument paragraph. I said you might not need this. You probably won't, but I wanted to give you the idea that it might be necessary. If an author is unclear about their thesis, like we might see in his Survival Selfish, right? Wallace never necessarily gives us a super clear thesis. You may want to include a counter argument to say, you know, their thesis could be taken a different way. That's not how I took it, and here's why. But you could. Or if their argument is borderline, right? Like it's kind of a good argument, but it has some weak points or something like that, you may want to include a counter argument paragraph. I'm not going to in our sample because for these ones, I don't think it's necessary. Again, I just want to give you the idea that you may want to have one. If you do include a counter argument paragraph, and this is actually a pretty good note overall, you are not arguing the actual point, right? So if you're talking about is survival selfish, you are not addressing the question of is survival selfish. You are explaining what Wallace says about it and if Wallace's argument is a good or a bad one. And then finally, you've got a summary paragraph, and that's normal, right? You're just wrapping up, you're concluding your stuff, and then you're stating your thesis one last time. So that's it, guys. And then I'll have a second presentation about how to put this essay together.